When I began writing this chapter on statistics, I knew that there was something in this subject that was important and that I was missing out. I used to look at the PhD thesis of some friends, and then I would see those tables, graphs. Then they would be awarded their PhD degrees. I learned that without the use of statistics in such a professional way that they did, they would not have gotten the PhD degree. So for me, it appeared like the billionaires club where I was not allowed in. Being an avid reader, my fascination for statistics grew even more with books like Freakonomics, The Tipping Point, Think Fast, Think Slow, and so on. They made use of statistical research to illustrate the core argument of their books. Unlike the PhD thesis, which was heavy with technical terms of statistics, the books written by authors like Levitt and Gladwell and Kahneman explain the statistical findings in layman's language. I understood the findings, but even those prominent writers seem to keep the secret of statistics hidden in their billionaires club, where I would never have access. I had this wish that I could understand and use statistics one day the way they do. Then, as a motivator and counselor to the colleges, I come across so many students who say they have no clue of what statistics is about and what it is for, and that they hate the subject. I had done a 6-month course of statistics in my bachelor's degree, and I found it easy and interesting. That short course of half a year was enough for me to conduct dozens of surveys in my management consulting career. That limited knowledge was even enough for me to design data analytics for sales forecasting and organizational growth. So I did not understand why those students struggled with statistics. So when I began writing this chapter on statistics, I had mixed feelings. On one hand, I knew it was super complex and deep, and on the other hand, I also knew that it was so simple and shallow. So there was a contradiction. So what is the truth? This chapter was this opportunity for me to explore the reality of statistics. But where do I start? Who do I consult? At first, some of my PhD friends who were also professional supervisors came in my mind. I thought I would just ring them up and ask them to teach me statistics, although I thought I knew it. But then I realized that my four-brain learning approach style, which cannot be satisfied by learning the definitions, rules, and processes that they would teach me, would prevent them from transferring knowledge to me. I would be alienating them with my questions on trying to understand the big picture and the day-to-day applications, and my bombarding them with analogies to synthesize their teachings with other subjects. I knew that even 1 hour with me would break our friendship. This is where artificial intelligence comes in play. By the time I'm writing this book in 2025, AI has advanced so much that I don't need those professors and guardians of the billionaire club of statistics to teach me. So this chapter is the fruits of this new endeavor of self-learning through AI, namely Gemini. Rather than me telling you, I will show you as we go along how AI has democratized education for any subject. If it can be done for statistics, there is no limit in what you can learn with it. But mind you, you need to use the forebrain learning approach that I have talked about throughout this book. Otherwise, even AI won't be much of use and will be a boring old professor again. So, first, I will talk about where in our daily lives we meet with statistics without even knowing it. Through my research, I found out that most of our communication with one another comprises so much of statistics. The sentence that you just read even is a statistical sentence. The word most refers to frequency terminology of statistics. We tend to ask what is the probability of raining and so on. First section will cover all those bases. After that, you will realize that statistics isn't some distant, vague, and useless subject. You'll be able to lower your guards against what we thought was a monster, but is in fact a very loyal pet. Then, after covering the information brain quadrant of our four-brain learning approach, I'll be taking you to the knowledge brain quadrant. By now, you'd be at ease and familiar with statistics. I'll give you a tour of the history of statistics and hierarchy. I will take you directly to the penthouse without having to climb the stairs using our AI superfast lift. From that penthouse, I will show you what statistics is really, what those PhD students really do and how they get their PhDs, how those great writers used statistics to produce bestsellers that have convinced the world to believe in their arguments unanimously. They're from the students who earlier were perplexed with statistics will experience its demystification right in front of their eyes. In the third section, I will deal with the wisdom brain quadrant, whereby I will be talking about the future of statistics, where artificial intelligence has changed the rule of the game beyond recognition. Today, unknown to most people, we don't need to know what our old professors have been guarding so vehemently. Most of the procedure-related tasks involving definitions, rules, formulas of statistics, including coding in Python to get the various measures of statistics, can be outsourced to AI like we are doing with arithmetics using the calculator. Even the process of designing a research that earlier required professors can be done with AI. So what is left for humans to do then, you'll ask? And this is what this particular section is all about. The future has already arrived. This section will just herald it. In the last section, I'll be covering the skill brain quadrant. This will be a boon for new students of statistics, new PhD aspirants, new writers, but at the same time, it might feel like a curse for the old gatekeepers and the patrons of the billionaire club of statistics. Here I will give you the new skills of statistics that must be mastered in the era of artificial intelligence. It is no more about entering the data correctly or using the correct formula, making sure that there is no mistake. Now all of that will be done by AI. In this new era, the statistician is a master strategist and a master diagnostician. That's why I have called that particular section autopilot. We have already arrived, but very few people know it. Now you are one among them. Statistics is like a plane on autopilot. We still need a pilot. However, the skills that he needs to have are different than earlier when it was all manual. This is what we will explore in that section. And this way, this chapter holds lots of promises. Writing this chapter hasn't just been a chore or even a pleasure. No, for me it has been a life-transforming event. Today, knowing that I'm in the era of AI, I realized that I don't need my PhD professors to write books that are scientifically, statistically correct. I know what it means and I know how to achieve those results. Yet, still more exciting for me is that it's so easy, like a pilot would say when flying a plane with autopilot. Easy, yes, but different skill sets are required. Eventually, all throughout the research in this chapter, I was having one epiphany after the other. Soon, I realized that with the combination of AI and my own forebrain learning approach, I had developed something called Omni Data Sense. By reading this book and this particular chapter, you too can develop it. What I mean by this term is that using AI for statistics, we can make sense of any data that we collect at lightning speed. This enables us to research anything that we set our minds on. Omni Data Sense also means that we can prove or disprove any hypothesis that would pass the most grumpy professor at a PhD defense session. The only thing required for us is to have the imagination to find out what hypothesis we want to work on and to obviously collect the data. And that also has been democratized with software like Google Forms or alternatives using the internet. The age of manual labor is gone. With so much power at the tips of your fingers and in your mind, I couldn't find a better word than Omni Data Sense. Then the third implication of Omni Data Sense is the ability to make predictive engines using AI as an engine. What was only for billion-dollar companies and top data scientists and PhDs is now available to the commoner like you and me. All you need to do is to have an idea. The rest, using the ideas in this chapter, is just a few clicks away. So it is with this immense sense of achievement that I begin this chapter. What started as a contradiction ended up with the discovery of my own Omni Data Sense. This chapter is not only for the students confused about statistics, it's for the PhD aspirant who is struggling with statistics under a supervisor who knows the rules but doesn't know the big picture and certainly doesn't have the wisdom to synthesize statistics with frame of reference of non-academic audiences. This chapter is even for the supervisors who know the skills of the manual era, or even of the SPSS era, or even of the Python era, but are not able to ignite the fire of passion in their students. Finally, this book is for fellow writers like me who can't afford expensive professors, statisticians, data science engineers, expensive software, but want to present statistically and scientifically sound arguments in their books. So the future has arrived, and welcome to the future.